Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. So today I thought we would continue working in our little blue journal here. And I want to, yeah, that one's a little bit too big for in there. So I wanted to make a little, oh, goodness sakes. So I was working on this little flip thing here. You know, it's just got some little pieces of ribbon, you know, all stacked together. And to hold them together on my page, I was just using a little piece of book page, and there's a little piece of washi there in the middle. And I had them all lined up the way I wanted them. And then I wiggled, or they wiggled, and have to start all over again. So this book page is from the book that we're using. And I want them to be, and I'm using it to hold them together because I'm putting them on this little page that folds out like this. And I don't want it to interfere with this little flip out. So what I'm going to do is, and this book page is cracking, so I want it to appear like it's holding them together when in actuality it really won't be. It's just going to be there just for looks. Okay, so I'm going to use my stapler to actually staple these together. And I'm going to do it right here in the middle, kind of here toward the top. If I can keep this white piece still. It seems to be the problem piece. It's being my problem child. There we go. Okay. Right there. And then I'm going to use my my Fabri-Tac. And because this paper is really old, I'm just kind of gluing them down on there. And I'm also going to glue these little flaps that this created around them. So it looks like the paper is holding them in place. It is a little bit, but they're still stapled, you know, they're stapled together. There we go. And then I'm going to glue this. I'm going to glue this whole bundle right here, I think. I think I want that whole bundle right there, and that won't interfere with the flap opening and closing. So I think that's where I want it. I think. So I wanted to make sure that that wouldn't interfere with the flap opening and closing. I don't think it will. No. Okay. And I know I just kind of jumped right in there, didn't I? I didn't even say, hope you're having a super day or anything like that. So I hope you are. I hope you're having a super day, and I hope you're getting to play in your journal and create and, you know, all that fun stuff. I was in the middle of this, and then I thought, I forgot to turn the camera on. There we go. Now, let's make sure that it's lined up straight. Yeah, I got so involved in what I was doing that I wasn't paying attention. All right, straighten up here. There we go. I don't mind if the ribbon sticks out any. That's okay. Now, I could decorate on this ribbon. Like, I had this little man out. And I thought, well, he looks kind of funny just sitting in the middle of nowhere. So I was going to try to make him look like he was sitting on that little boop of ribbon. See how that little ribbon comes out? I was going to try and make it look like he was sitting on there like that. You know, with his little feet dangling. But I couldn't decide. if I liked him on there or not. I kind of do. I kind of like him on there. I think he looks kind of cool sitting there. Like, ha! You opened up your book and there I am. But I don't know if this will hold him on there. So I must have been thinking about him. I think I need to put something up here to hold that, because it keeps wiggling. Every time I move the page, it wiggles. Let me use my clamp. I think it'll get down there further. I must have been thinking about it earlier. There we go. Because when I opened my book, he was sitting there. So I think that's what I'm going to do. If I can figure out a way to get him to sit there and behave himself. Let's see. Maybe up there. Maybe right there. Oops, you're crooked. Sit up straight there, little man. Well, now I don't know if he's crooked or my ribbon's crooked. All right, how about if I just make you straight? No, don't worry about the ribbon. Or maybe I'll put something underneath there. Let's try that. And then it won't look like he's going to fall off. I would hate for him to look like he's going to fall off. All right, let's see here. I just had somewhere on this messy desk of mine. Here it is. Right here. Now, this isn't going to look right. Let me see. Let me see if one of these little pieces, if I can make one of these little pieces small enough. And if not, I have one of these little pieces might work. Let's see if one of these little pieces will work. Well, I think you just look better sitting on the ribbon. I think we're just going to have to put you on the ribbon. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Either that or just leave the ribbon as is, and we're just going to have to put you someplace else. Sorry about that. Maybe after this ribbon dries, I can put him, I can do something in here. Let's try that. I think this is probably dried enough. Whoops, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to bop you up there. Let me get that up there. Okay, now let's open this up. Okay, so initially this was going to be a tuck in here. Now, that doesn't have to, well, see, that was not going to work, was it? So, let's go on and glue that down because I just pulled it up. So, let's glue it down. Because that is not going to work. Let's get that up there. There. So I just want this to flip out. There we go. So now there is no tuck here. I just glued my tuck closed, which is fine. I don't have an objection to that. And I think what I'll do here to go over that edge, I actually think to hold this down until it dries, I'm going to put a paper clip on it just until these ribbons dry. We're going to put you there until you dry. Until this dries all the way. And I might leave it that way. I don't know. I think I'm going to put some of this. I'm going to put a piece of this all the way down here. Yep, I think that's what I'm going to do. Just like that. Just like that. And that will help hold that in place. And that will keep that from wiggling. There we go. All right, so I just need to trim my edges here. Okay. Yeah, and it's got the greens in it from that match the ribbons. Okay. So let's open that up. Let's see, I need to trim this edge up here, don't I? There we go. Let's push that down up there. Much better. Okay, so if we're going to open that up, in here, let's see what we can do here. I think I want to make in here maybe a pocket. Let's make sure it's going to close. Okay, that one's a little bit too big, but we can trim it. Yeah, that's a little bit too big. So let's trim this one a little bit. I think maybe right there will be good. Then I need to re-round those corners. Let's see, I think it was this side that we took it off of. Get out of there. And let's see if we took off enough. Okay, good. Now it'll close okay, and it won't interfere, and it doesn't interfere over here. Okay, so we've got our pocket here. Okay. And I want to put that there. And I think our little gentleman could sit right there. Oh, if I scoot that up a little bit. Oop, not you, not you. Get back down there. If I scoot this up a little bit, he could rest his elbow right there on the edge of the pocket like that. Just like that. And if I scoot it over a smidgen, like that, okay, put your elbow back right there. Now his little feet are dangling. Well, what if I put two of them like that? Now, I had some little stamps or something I could put in there. I can put a flower. I have a white flower like that one that we can put there. Okay, so let's do that. And then whatever you put in the pocket has to go behind him. So I have to remember not to glue him down. Okay, so anything above his elbow doesn't get glued down. So where's my pencil go? Anything above his elbow. Okay, no glue. That's going to remind me, no glue. Okay, so that needs glued down. So I don't need that, but I do need this. Okay, so I want to pick this up, and I want to glue that on there. Now, before I go any further, come on. All right, I can take some of these out of here because I put them over here on my tray. Before I go any further, let's take that out and let's go on and ink this up. Now I just want to get the edges ever so lightly. I know you can't really see it on that black very well, can you? And I want to get my little... Oh wait, he's going to be in the middle, so I don't need to do that. But I do want to do these. Now I need to hold those where I just glued them. Okay. Right across there. Now, I'm just ever so lightly going to go down through the middle here. Like, you know, someone's been messing with these and they're just getting all dirty. Now, that's supposed to be folded right there. So I'm going to go on and fold it. I'm going to give it its fold. Like it's supposed to be a page in a book. And I'm going to give it its, to make it look like it was an old page in a book. There we go. Like that. To give it a little more oomph. Now I can go on and glue that down. Okay. Now I'm going to glue this down as one piece. Okay, so let's get this where we need it. Let's make sure that we're where we want to be on the page. And let's make sure we're where this needs to be so our man sits with his elbow up there. Right there. Okay. Now, we're only going to glue from his waist down. Remember, I marked on here. So we're only gluing from here down. Down. Okay. Now my big pocket isn't glued down yet, so I can pick it up if I need to. Okay, so let's, now where's my, I just had my paper towel. As I knew this was going to get messy. I just had it. I don't know where it went, but I just had it. Hello? Okay, I don't know where it went. Okay, let's wipe that off. It's got some glue up here. There we go. Okay, there it is. So now let's glue our pocket down. Okay. Right there. There we go. And because we glued these three pieces as one unit, I don't have to worry about, you know, sticking to my page. Now, I was going to put a flower on there. So let's see. I know I have a white rose. Let's see, that one's going to be too big. I'm going to need out of this one. I know I have a white flower. I can put that white flower right there. Now let's go on to take some of this gloss off of it. Okay. Come on now. There we go. Right there. There we go. Here's our white flower. Okay, so now we can put this stuff away. Get it off the table. Oh, I like that page. I like that page a lot. And so this, I think that might be a little bit too big, but let's see. See, it would go right behind him, and it would slide right in there. Now, this was just made on the back of a piece of packaging. See, I don't even have it trimmed all the way yet. I just did it. Okay. So, to get it in, you just slide it right back behind him. There you go. And then you have the butterflies as part of your backdrop. Oh, I like that page a lot. That page turned out a lot better than I was first thought it was going to. You know, sometimes in your head they look better than what they end up looking like. So I like that page. Okay. So let's move things out of the way here. Now, we can flip that page back. Oh, I like that much better than him just sitting on ribbon. Much better. Okay. Now, let's put our paper clips in the drawer. Much better. Okay, so now that's signature number 1. So let's pop back here to signature 2. And I've added a couple of pockets here with a little tuck. Now, I think I want to add, and to that pocket, I added this thing here, and I'm going to show you how I made that. We're going to make one of those. To make one of those, you need, now I just used old packaging. This is just a piece of old Tim Holtz packaging. You know, like paper packaging like this. You know, like when you buy packaging old. And it doesn't even have to be Tim Holtz. It can be anybody. It can be any kind of packaging. And if you don't like the color of the packaging, ink it up until you do. Or use your spray inks or your ink pads like this. You know, on a slick surface, your oxides. Add water to them, and because they're water soluble, and then make them the color that you want. That's what all this modeled look is supposed to represent. On these is the oxides. So just make them look the way that you want. Then they have to dry thoroughly before this process. Okay. So we're gonna do one of those. So I'm gonna grab something that's roughly the same size so that we can cut it. So there's one piece. Let's see if I have another piece here that's roughly the same size that I can cut. I think those two might be the same size. Okay. And so what you're also going to need is a piece of ribbon or a piece of trim. Like that's a piece of trim. And then I used inside here, this is just an old lady's handkerchief. Now, if you don't have an old lady's handkerchief or an old piece of linen that, you know, that you want to use, that's okay. You can put inside of it a pretty piece of cardstock. You can put in a piece of, well, put in it anything you want. It's going to be yours in your journal, so put in anything you want. But you can put in a piece of lace, if you have a pretty piece of lace, if you have a pretty piece of fabric that you like, whatever makes you happy. But I just happen to have that piece of linen on a lady's handkerchief, and that I wanted to use, and that was what I used. So when you get your pieces, I've got things sticking to my finger here. When you get your pieces, don't cut off this. Okay, if they have this piece, don't cut it off. Okay, we're just going to turn it over like that, and we're going to cut out our piece from over here because it's going to be covered by this piece. You know, it's going to go like that. So don't cut this off. Okay. All right. So let me get everything gathered and get things off my desk, including our book. And I'm going to show you how to do this. So hold on just a second and I'll be right back. Okay. So I have everything here. So I wanted to show you a couple of options. So if you have a lady's handkerchief like this, maybe from the 50s or 60s, it might not be embroidered, but it's printed. So that would work. Or ladies' handkerchiefs, I'm not sure what era these were from, but they were larger. And they used them in the breast pockets of like suits and things like that. But they had lovely edges on them like that. You could use that, or you could use something like this. Something that was smaller that had an embroidery pattern on it. See, it was embroidered like that one, except this one is white on white. Or you could use something like that. So it's totally up to you as to what you want to use, but you do need to decide what you want to use before you cut the hole like this, because you have to know what size hole you want to cut before you know what your picture is going to be before you cut it. Now, I was thinking I might use this one, but as I lay it down, it's way too big to get what I want to get. Now, I could turn it this way, and if I lay that down, you know, to see what I would get, all I would be able to get are these little yellow and white daisies. I wouldn't get any of that. So this one will be for another project. Let's move that ink out of the way. Let's get some of that stuff off the table. And this one would work because it's small enough. Now, I would lose some of the bottom stem, but it would work on this small. See, I can see through, I know you can't, but I can see through there that I could get everything except maybe the bottom stem, the bottom half of the stem, which that would be okay. I don't need to see all of it. See, if I turn it around, I think you can maybe see it. I would miss just the very bottom piece of the stem there, and that would be okay. Now this great big one, I can tell just by looking at it. I'm not going to get hardly any of it. It's just too overpowering for this small of a piece. So again, that one's for another project. So we'll put them off to the side, and we're going to work on this one. Now, you have seen me cut many times to make photos like these, to make little photo frames like this. And if you have something that already has a photo frame, you know, that already is a photo frame, that would work too. So you could do something like that. Now, what I do is I figure out the size that I want, and that's pretty much the size that I keep for all of mine. So for mine, I measured, my piece is 4.5 inches long, and overall it is 3.5 inches wide. My opening here is roughly 2.5 inches wide, and it is 3 inches tall. So it's a 2x3 is my opening. My edging right here is a 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch on each side. Down at the bottom, it's an inch. This is an inch. This is a 1/2 inch. Okay? And at the top, it was a 1/2 inch. And then I flipped over this from the back piece. So I'm going to cut on this piece. And then this piece is going to flip over onto the top of it. Okay? So I'm going to measure here, but I'm cutting on this side because all the words here, it's just too hard to see. And you're going to need both of them. You're going to need 2 of them, and they have to be the exact size. Okay, so up from the bottom, you need to measure 1 inch. Okay? And you're going to mark it all the way across. Now, for me, it's easiest if I can mark it on a line. If I can line this up on a line, and then I can line this up on a line on my little mat. If I can do that and draw my line, I know I'm going to be straight. Okay? And then I need a 1/2 inch line. Okay? So if I can put that back there and line my ruler up. Oops. I need to keep this straight though. And line my ruler up on the 1/2 inch. Oops. I need to bend this back so I can go all the way up. And then line my little ruler up all the way up here on the 1/2 inch. And do the same over here. Come over here to the inch. Okay, now you have to figure out for your top piece, if you come down that far, is that going to take away too much of your picture? For me, it did for that one. So I had to cut some of mine off. So I need to figure out on mine, yeah, that's going to take off too much. So I need to cut off. Now, how big is my top piece here? My top piece is 1.5 inches. I only want it to be 1 inch. So I need to cut off a 1/2 inch off of this top piece. I don't need you. You know what? I'm just going to do it with my knife. That way I know I'm straight. Okay, knife, where are you? There it is. Okay, so now that will bend over to the top, but remember it's going to go that way. My hole is going to be back here, and I'm going to be cutting through both of these. So now to cut through these and make sure my hole is the same, because your hole has to be the same, you put them together and you clamp them however you like to clamp things. Paper clips, clamps, makes absolutely no difference to me. I like to use paper clips because they're flatter and they don't put any bulk under what I'm doing. I don't want to use that one. Okay, and I have the part that I drew on the top. And I'm going to use my metal ruler because I know it's safest. And I'm going to start on the long line. Now, I'm not going to go all the way up to the top here. I'm only going to go, let's see, that's going to fold down to there. I need to stop. Folds down to there. Okay, I'm not going to cut out my top line yet. Okay, to cut through both of them, you have to hold firmly, and you might have to make a couple of passes to get through them both. Now I just made 2 little dots so I can see where my lines are. That's all I did. I don't want to cut too far. Okay. Okay. Now pop that through. Oops, I didn't get through all the way on the second piece. Right there. Now, before I cut across, I'm going to take and lay this and make sure. I'm going to move it around here and make sure where I want to cross is okay. Right there, my line is okay. So I can cut it right there. Yeah, I can cut it, well, not straight, but I can cut it right there at that dot that I made. Oh, I can cut it under that dot. So let's make sure. Okay, let's take that off. All right, that's going to go to there. Let's take that out. Okay, I'm just getting it centered is all I'm doing here, side to side and top to bottom. so I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut this piece. I'm going to cut it level with that. Actually, I'm going to cut it below it. I'm going to cut it right there. I need to make sure it's straight though. Because I can always cut it up a little bit more. Oops. Need to come up some. Okay, there's one piece. Okay, now this piece. Okay, now remember, this is going this way. And this is the piece that's going on top. Okay, this piece can come off now. I don't need this. Actually, more of it can come off because this is coming over, but it still needs to line up. So before you trim, keep this together. So keep this together. And you want to keep all of this together. Now, it doesn't matter about your holes up here, but you need to keep your main hole together is what the hole I'm talking about. Okay. So up here, you don't want to cut your back piece. I'm talking about the front piece right now. So you can trim that. You can trim off. Okay, this piece is coming over, so you can cut. You can cut everything that's going to sit underneath here. So before you cut it, pick it up and make sure that what you're cutting is going to be covered. Does that make sense? Like, I can cut all of this extra off, but I need to leave under here something to hold down what's going to be under here. Does that make sense? Okay, let me just show you. So I can cut off all this extra right here. Let me get it folded straight. Remember, I didn't cut my line all the way up. That's because I needed to know where I was going to cut it. So now I know. So now I can take this all the way across to here and go like this. Okay. Now this can come out the rest of the way. Like that. Now this is going to fit in here, and this is going to come down over top of it like that. Okay. Now anything that's still too long, I can just trim after I get everything in here. I can just trim it. And if I have to, I can even trim the bottom a little bit if need be. As long as your flour or whatever you're putting in there fits. How in the world did I end up with two knives? As long as everything fits in it, that's all that matters. Now you need to pick one for top and one for the bottom. Okay, this is going to be my top piece. It's going to sit here like this. This is my bottom piece. Okay, so I can trim that off after I get my fabric on there. But I have to get my fabric on first. So I need to get this rough cutted. That didn't make much sense, did it? I need to do a rough cut on this. So fabric scissors it is. So let's do a big old rough cut here. And I'm just taking this whole square till I see what I need. Okay. Now I'm just going to place this here. Let's just see what we need here. Okay. And now I'm going to place this kind of right in here like this. And I want it centered. I don't want it off to the corners. I want it centered, just like this. And you're going to pull it snug once you get it glued. And you're going to glue around the edges. Okay. And I always use my Fabri-Tac for this. And I start at the top. Because that helps me with placement. And for me, I need to figure out which is top and which is bottom. I think this might be top. I think. Yeah, I think this might be top. I think this is top. Just like that. Okay. Now I'm going to trim off some of this excess fabric. Now I'm not going to cut all of it off because I want some of it to stay up there. But I don't want all of it up there. So I'm cutting right below where that fold is. See, I want some of it right above my little hole there. There we go. Because that way I can put some more glue up there to help it stay down better. Okay, so now I can go this way. Now, I do think I want to try one of these with lace. But I don't really have any lace that I really like that much. I mean, I have some pretty lace, but... Okay, so now I'm going to add my top piece. So I'm going to figure out where I want it. And I think I want it right there. So I need to make sure that this is going to fold down over it. And I need to make sure I keep it straight. And I haven't trimmed any. You can see that. I haven't trimmed anything yet. The important thing is keeping this top piece straight. Okay. And making sure that you get it under your fold. Right there. And right there. Oh, needs to go up more. Now, like I said, if you don't have two of these, you can always cover something else with a pretty cardstock, which I'm running out of these. I've made several of them. So I think the next one I'm going to do, I'm just going to do with plain cardstock, and I'm just going to cover it. There we go. Now, before you glue this down, do your trimming now. Okay. Trim off your edges now. It's a whole lot easier to do it now than after you turn this down. For some reason, I don't know why, but that's what it's going to look like. And then you can also trim any excess fabric out of way of that hole up there. Okay. There we go. Okay, good. Now, so you can see there's a difference back here, but on this side you don't really see it. So over here, I'm going to fold that back, and I'm going to come in. I think I need my small ones. And I want to trim right below that hole. Because I want to put an eyelet in there. And then bring that over. Now, if you want to do any inking around the edges, now's the time to do your inking. Okay, let's bring that down. And if you wanted to ink like around the hole, like with this white fabric, I would not have dared put oxide around that hole because the fabric would have picked it up and wicked it out. But I can go on and ink around the holes on the outside, or on the outside of it if I want, and it won't pick it up. I don't think it'll pick it up. I hope not, because that's what I'm going to do. But if I would have inked on the inside or used my oxide on the inside, it would have picked it up. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to hold those still for a minute while I put my scissors away. And I don't know where all these knives came from, but they're all over my desk. Okay, so I want this. No, I don't want that one. I want this one. And I want to put this around the edges of both of them. Now, you can do like I did across the top here. I just put a simple trim across the top. Now, I can tell that that one is a thicker material, because it feels thicker. And this one might feel thicker once the glue dries, but right now it feels really thin. Okay. All right, so I want to put an eyelet in up here at the top. And I want to use that one. See if I can get it to, oh, it does fit through, good. Now this one has a back to it, which with that fabric sticking through, it should help. There we go. Now that one's ready. Okay, So that's it. They're quick and they're easy to do. They don't take long. And I will put some trim across there. Let's see what we have in here. Now I have the same trim. I don't think I want the same trim. I think I want something a little darker. Maybe not that one. Yeah, maybe I do want that one. Nope, I think I like that one. I think I like that one. Okay. Where is it? There it is. I think it just needs a little bit of weight. And this one needs something down here. Being such a light color, it needs like a butterfly. It needs something. A bumblebee. All right, let's get that trimmed off so that'll stick. Get up there. Yeah, that is really thin fabric. Yeah. All right, let's see what we have here close at hand that we can put there. I don't know if I have any small butterflies. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see, is this a little one? That's a little blue one. Now that one's not too bad. Not exactly what I had in mind, but... Oh, this one's pretty. Let's try this one. I actually think that's a moth, but that's okay. I think I like that. I like the color. So let's go on and put that on. There. There we go. There we go. So now we have 2 of them. We can use, and you can use them in any kind of journal you want, depending on the look that you're looking for, whether it be a vintage journal, a garden journal, a floral journal. You know, it depends on what you put in here. So yeah, so they're kind of fun and easy to do, and you can decorate them out the yin yang if you want, or you can keep them quick and easy and simple like we did today. So I hope you give one a try, and I hope you have fun making them. I think I'm going to keep making them today, and I think I'm going to try it with some lace. And I hope you enjoyed our little expedition into using some vintage linens today, and I hope you had some fun. And until I see you again in our next Ladybug Journals video, ta-ta for now.